This is Pusha Wheats Catan, if you know, you know, coming at you with Game 8 of the Name the Kid 1v1 challenge. We are looking at playing a 1v1 format and trying to get a 75% win rate on colonist.io during the 10 placement matches in order to name my friend's firstborn child a random name generated by Colonist. We need to be perfect from here on out to name the kid Gurias. So we are at a 71% win rate. We have 3 matches to go before those placement matches are completed and we can lock in an official win rate. And we have to be perfect from here on out. So here comes game 8. Can we pull it off? So here is our game board. We are placing second here. Red is getting the first placement, and looking at the board, I can see that there is very strong wheat and sheep, but there is really only one good ore spot with that 6 ore on the bottom corner. My opponent places on the 8, 5, 10 on the top right, locking down one of the better road building spots and wheat spots. I do like the choice there, but for me, that means that I'm definitely going to be taking this ore spot and making sure that I can take advantage of having the only strong ore on the board. Unfortunately, this spot is surrounded by some pretty weak numbers. The best is the 8, 5, 11 for production purposes, but that does mean that we need to find brick and wheat, and there isn't really a good spot that will allow for us to get both of those. So in this situation, I would rather go with a strong dev strategy and hope that I get lucky with a year of plenty or a road building early. So when I take this spot, the one that I'm going to end up pairing it with is going to be a choice between the 8, 4, 10 or the 8, 3, 4. And I do ultimately go with the 8, 3, 4, pointing down to the sheep port. This is letting me maximize the sheep that I get, and it is giving me a little bit more ore production. So I'm going for the strongest ore wheat sheep strategy that I can go for. That does mean that I am missing a brick, so when I get started, I'm going to need to produce one with a 4-for-1 since we're unable to trade. So I'm thinking the opponent is probably going to be looking at pairing up with that ore spot, but that doesn't really give them great expansion, and it only lets them point towards the 11 sheep, so that isn't ideal for settle materials or development materials. So what other choices does the opponent have? I think the 3, 6, 9 is a good choice for them. Then they would have all the resources, but they do end up going for the 5, 9, 10. Interesting choice, and point it up, so it does look like they are trying to make some kind of move to be able to settle somewhere. And right away, devastation here. When we're looking at this, they have cut us off, and this does 2 things to my game that I don't love. One, they're going to get access to that sheep port, so that would have been a huge part of my end game where I would be able to then trade in the sheep to have better road building production with the 11, the 4, and the 10. But that is taken out, and that means that the opponent is also getting one of the strongest wheat spots on the board as well. I pull a dev early, and I get a victory point. Not ideal. I would want to have a knight or some other special cards that would give me an advantage to try to get out of this spot, specifically a road building. And things get from bad to worse here. Now I am double plowed, so I'm going to have to go backwards to build any kind of road in this game. I pop another dev, and I do get a knight there so I can at least start to slow down the opponent. Playing this is kind of an aggressive move early. You usually want to use your knights to unblock yourself, but in this particular situation, when we're playing 1v1 and an opponent is running away with the game, I will use that knight provisionally so that I'm able to slow down their progress, and I choose the 8 brick, hoping to at least take a leg out from their road building, but it's not going to slow them down too much with the 9, 5, and 10 road building materials also available. I pop again and I get another victory point, which is good. There's only 5 in the deck, and so I'm going to stick with my strategy and try to make this a dev heavy game. I'm also going to be looking to city up as quick as possible, and I have to go backwards and be able to build a road somewhere that allows us to get new settle spots. At this point, I realized that road is absolutely impossible for me. I am cut off and my opponent has a completely perfect arrangement right now. There's one inefficient road, but the difference between 14 and 15 roads is not going to come up. There's no way that I can circumnavigate and be able to connect back. So in this situation, I'm really trying to just not waste any effort in doing that, and I'm going to have to be branching out and making settle spots as efficiently as possible. But this game is looking horrible right now. I don't even have a settlement down, and my opponent has 4, and they're about to settle on that strong ore port. But finally, I get my first city there. I'm going to put it on the strong ore always, because as you can see, that 6 roll now gets me even closer to my second city, and I have largest army locked down. My opponent is not purchasing any dev cards, which, as you know, is usually a sign that they are not doing well unless they have you double plowed. But I pull a mono as well. Now I have to think strategically, when am I going to use this? Could this be something that is a game-changing scenario for me? And I take it right away. I looked back and saw that they had some brick there, and my goal is to make it as difficult as possible for the opponent to take the settle spots. I was just 1 brick away, unfortunately, from being able to build 1 more road on the 6, 11, 12 and settle there. That would have been game changing for me, because it would have meant that the opponent couldn't settle on the 6 ore, and that would have limited their city building potential quite a bit. Now they have all 5 of their settlements down. They do need a city in order to progress in the game, and I've pulled my 3rd victory point. So that means more than half of the VP deck is in my favor now. I pretty much have uncontested largest army, so this is not looking as bad as it could, and I'm really getting a little bit more hope now that it's possible for me to pull this off with the opponent not taking any dev cards at all. But my goal is going to be to settle and build cities. If I can maximize my production, even without ports and brick, I still might be able to build roads, which will lead to additional settle spots down the road. And so the next big turning point in this match is the opponent then goes and builds their first city. So that's bad news. The one thing that would have really had them slow down quite a bit would be for them to not have additional settlements and slowed down for building that city. But since they do get there, they are able to extend that road and settle again. So I'm still playing my game though. I get a city, and it's basically just going to be whatever resources that I end up being able to collect, whether that's city building materials or settlement materials on that 369, and continuing to get development cards. There's still 2 more victory points in the deck, and if the opponent is not going to be collecting any of them, then I see no reason why I shouldn't be able to get all 5, which could potentially get us to some win conditions. The opponent does also settle on their second port, and I still don't have one, but I'm continuing to get some good development card materials, and that Year of Plenty is going to be big because that will be able to give me that brick and wood that I need in order to settle without having to get lucky with the roll here. So next thing that I'm doing is getting those remaining materials, settling there, and now I have the potential to city up twice. You could see I get another huge amount of ore there, and I could city up on the next turn. My opponent also gets a city there, and that is another one that is not great. They have 3 cities, and that one is on their road building production engine. They're at 11 points now, 0 VPs, 0 knights. I'm at 12, but I have no ability to take back road here. So near a stalemate, and things are going to go pretty quick at this point because we are both pretty much maxed out on production. The opponent rolls a 7 here, and they end up blocking my 6 sheep, which I guess is one of the citied up locations that they don't co-own with me. I might self-block the wheat if I was them. Sometimes that is a good strategy in one-on-one because they can get wheat in other places anyway, but it would slow me down immensely. I am biting my nails at this point. It is 12-12. I need this win in order to continue the challenge and be able to move on to games 9 and 10. So I am doing whatever I can to stay competitive in this match. I am thinking here about what to do. I'm at 9 cards, and there's no reason really to play a knight, so just going to keep going. Another good lucky roll there. That is another city in hand for me as long as we don't 7 out here, and it gets even better. So we're going to be able to put down the city and buy 2 dev cards, and there's another victory point coming in. So I'm at 14 points now. I'm trying to think, what can I do in order to settle and be able to end this? But as I'm thinking this over, my opponent rolls an 8. They have 13 cards in their hand, and they traded in for 2 settle spots to lose the game. So we have lost the Name the Kid challenge. We were so close, and losing with 14 points is a hell of a way to go out. But doing the math here, with only 2 games remaining and a 62% win rate, it would take an incredible amount of luck in order to continue on to win and be at over a 75% win rate, and it definitely wasn't going to happen in the 10 placement matches. So I'm going to call this one an L. I really put everything out there that I could to win this challenge, and I guess my friend will still be able to name his kid whatever he wants. But I think that there was a lot that I learned from this challenge in how to play the one-on-one format. And if you look at the rates of top players, 62% is still actually pretty solid in the one-on-one arena. I'm not upset with how I played this, and I took it pretty far. I do want to do one more video where we take lessons learned from this challenge, and for those of you who are interested in stepping up your game for one-on-ones, you'll be able to learn from all of the advice that I've given in there. I'm going to do a summary video, and thank you all for watching. This is not the end of Pusha Wheats Catan, but it is the end of the Name the Kid challenge. Thank you guys so much, and see you in my other videos.